This is definitely a new type of video that we're doing. I don't know if I would call it a podcast or not, but we just thought we'd try and switch it up a little bit. If you guys like this type of content, let us know down below. Maybe we'll do more. Of course, we're always gonna try and do our weekly episodes, but if you guys wanna have a sit down, talk about some conversations, stuff like that, we'll go ahead and do that. So I got my man Sebastian right here.
Yes, sir, switching up in the video.
Yeah.
New little concept that we got running here. So yeah, I hope you guys like it.
Yeah, so Sebastian's the manager here. If it's your first time watching, my name's Andrew, owner of Holy Ground. Own 2 stores right now. So we kind of co-owner, sorry, that was my lovely wife, the other co-owner. We are going to talk about today, is sneaker reselling dead? I don't know, Sebastian, what do you think? I guess like the first thing we should probably talk about is probably like what you think the market is like currently. And to give a frame of reference, it is April of 2023, so.
I don't know, I feel like we're in like a weird place right now with sneakers. I feel like the last year we've been saying like, where are we? Like no one really knows that where we're at right now with sneakers. I feel like everyone's just either holding to wait for everything to clear up, or people are like, no, let me sell because I want to get out of this right now. So I see a little bit of everything when people walk into the shop, why they're selling their sneakers or why it is that they're buying a sneaker, because a lot of people think, after this so-called recession that we're having right now, they're like, yo, after this, I'm going to be up. I got 30 pairs of Lost and Founds. Like, I'm gonna be a rich man after this. So in my opinion, it's a little bit risky right now, and you gotta be careful with what your money, and if you have the capital, yeah, go ahead, gamble it a little bit, risk it a little bit and see where it leads.
What would be your suggestion, I guess? Because in my mind, I am already thinking, I'm not holding anything.
Yeah.
Like I have people asking me for investment advice about shoes, and I'm like, dude, just quick flip all day right now. But
I don't know, it's hard to give out financial advice for free. Most people pay for that right now, so just with the Lost and Founds, it's scary. Me personally, I'm the same thing with you. I don't think it's a good idea to be holding them right now, just because we're in a weird place right now with sneakers, and I'd rather just have the extra money in my pocket right now and see what you can do with it. There's plenty of money to be made somewhere else right now.
Yeah, like there's a bunch of people, like you said, like even for me, I see people who are like, I have bills to pay. Occasionally we'll get someone who's selling to kind of like buy something nicer, shout out Joe, trying to sell some shoes to buy a nice watch because he thinks that'll appreciate more than the shoes, which you kind of gotta let go and kind of give for some other type of assets. But I think that's the hard part. It's, when you think shoes, it's right now the market's pretty much down. Like I was telling Chris, if you guys know Chris from the old videos, he's back, but I was telling him like, dude, when was the last time you seen me buy a brand new pair of Jordan 1s for 80 bucks? Like 2 years ago, COVID times, that was kind of like just drastically different. Even back then, people were like coming into the shop and like, oh, hey, I just picked up some mids. I bought them for 100, can I get 3? Yeah. Like, it's just totally different.
Yeah, I think it's just like a time right now where like people are just, they're more cautious with how they're spending their money, so you gotta adapt to that. COVID time, me, myself, I wasn't worried about what I was spending my money on. I just, the money would come back next week and another stimmy check. So yeah, like people are not like thinking about what they're buying back in the day. Now, people are checking everything, like, can I get a better deal from here? Can I get a better deal from here? A lot of people are using their phone, becoming more knowledgeable with sneakers, so that's why they're making a little bit more calculated purchases instead of just, oh, shoe for $100, let me pick it up. Now even a $100 shoe, someone's gonna be like, can I get it for cheaper? That's what I've noticed with selling in the shop right now. So try to bargain a little bit, try to talk to some customers, and always trying to work out a deal.
Yeah, I think it's a weird time for like just where we're at in an economy, which just makes me feel so old. I feel like when I was like, when I was literally your age, like I never thought about what the economy was doing. I was never thinking about like interest on loans and stuff. Like, I don't know if that's just part of just growing up or like part of owning a business and stuff, but like, yeah, like when I think of people, they're like, I got car payments to make, and we did the math. Like if you have like a 6 or 7% loan for 30 years, you actually pay more in your interest than you do for your actual home.
It's getting tough right now.
Like I'm like, how do you pay more money on your interest than your actual home? Like that's crazy.
At least for me working here, that's what makes it cool about, yeah, you're getting older, but me being around you, I just learned that stuff from you. I learned it from a customer walking in. People are being a little bit more open to talking about those things right now because think everyone's kind of struggling together right now. So
Yeah, and it's not just like inflation that causes the sneaker market to go down, because obviously like that just means everything else is more expensive. So instead of spending money on shoes, you got to spend money on eggs, you know, or whatever it is that's going up. Like even gas, low key, it's going up again. But I'm like, so it's weird how that plays into a factor. But now that's the interesting thing that like I feel like I've kind of been talking to you a little bit about. It's like now we're on the verge of like the US dollar collapsing, which that's something the nation never experienced.
Never even deal with it.
Because we've always just been number one. And so like you can't even compare that to like, oh, the 2008 recession. It's like, no, we got this huge thing going on, and like, oh, are we going digital? Are we not? Like, what's gonna happen with sneakers? I think that's probably just the only thing that makes me think like maybe reselling could be dead, or it's only gonna be very specific selective shoes that are always gonna have a resale market. Like a lost and found would always do well, or like SP Lobsters might always do well, but it might not be a $700 shoe. It might be like, I can make an extra 50, 60 bucks.
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously the market's always going to be there. We're always going to be sneakerheads. We're always going to be looking for that next shoe. But I think we're kind of just adapting still from COVID. COVID times, people were buying mids, people were buying kind of these just random shoes because that's, you know, what they could get their hands on. Now I think we're starting to adapt back to where, no, we just want kind of what we've been asking for from Jordan brand or Adidas brand in the last few years, to where, yeah, we want more Jordan 4s, so that's what we're gonna be buying right now. I remember 2 years ago, I'd be paying attention if a new mid dropped. Now, I wouldn't even pay attention. If a mid dropped, the Jordan 1 low dropped. Now Dunks, I think a new Team Red Dunk, was it, that dropped last week? Not even paying attention to it because, one, they're just, in my opinion, not the coolest of shoes, and two, just no resale value. I'm not gonna be waking up early when I know I can't make an extra buck.
The only time you're gonna wake up early is if you actually want that shoe. But then even then with this market, for example, they came out with Air Max 1, the Shimas, which I like that shoe. I think it's dope. It was kind of more like under the radar. They kind of did around Air Max Day and all, but like I was thinking about buying it, and then I was like, watch, the shoe's gonna end up in the outlets though. Cause one, Air Maxes are not hot, the hype's not around it, and so why not just wait? Or maybe hit up someone that I know who works at Nike and get 40% off.
True.
Because it's probably gonna go sit. So like, yeah, that part in the sneaker market's different too. Like you're not gonna make a quick buck off of everything that comes out, because yeah, like that's how it was in COVID. Now it's like, man, like unless if it's hyped and limited, that's really the only way.
I feel like, yeah, just right now, you just got to educate yourself a little bit more. I feel like I see a lot of shoes that are sitting around coming into the shop because people are under the influence that like, oh, you know, sneaker reselling could be something I could get into. Let me buy this shoe, try to flip it. I feel like before you start going into those steps, educate yourself a little bit. You know, this is the shoes that are selling right now. Lost and Founds, Pine Green SB4s, you know, the new releases. Educate yourself on what's selling. That way you're investing your money into the right things.
Yeah, and that's the hard part, especially if you're new getting into it. Like, is there still profit to be made on most releases? Like I said, the Shima Air Maxes, like nobody cares. There's no profit.
No
like,
one's radar.
You're gonna need to return that shoe in order to get your money back. Because other than that, you're taking an L. But there's still other shoes, like other Jordan 1 highs, like people buying like, or the Jordan 11 cement gray low that, you know, just came out
last week.
Like that shoe's already going for retail. So if you sell it on one of the apps, you're making less than retail. So like why go through the work of buying a shoe, getting it for retail, trying to sell it back for retail, or trying to make $5? Like your time is worth more to go do something else.
True.
So like you said, you have to be smart, but I think profitability in shoes has just shrunken down a lot. Like
you think it's still there though? Like, let's say, or at least for you, like you had to restart today. How would you attack reselling?
Yeah, I would go all used, and I would learn how, I mean, I'm just literally copying and pasting what I did. So like I would just buy all used, learn how to clean, how to restore shoes, because that's really going to be the best way to get a really good deal, because people are willing to let go of their beaters for low right now because they need the money. So use it, clean it up, make it look presentable, and start selling, whether if it's on GOAT used, eBay, trying to sell to a sneaker shop. Maybe if you buy it for the low and you clean it up pretty nice, they might pay you a little bit more for it, and start your Instagram page. Like that's what I would do, but that's also, that would mean you need to learn how to legit check shoes, because especially when they're used, it's harder to tell. So that's a scary part, but now you have apps like Check, legit app, that just takes more time, but it's just, it's a lot more work to make $1, I think, with shoes as an individual reseller.
Yeah, I think like a few years ago, you would catch some people who were reselling shoes who weren't as passionate into it. I think right now, if you really want to get into reselling some shoes, you know, just be passionate into it, and then eventually you're gonna learn the ways. You make a good point. Like if you're looking to resell right now, probably just get some used shoes, put in the work, clean them up, and make them look nice. Take advantage of the fact that people need cash right now. Not even like a whole Instagram page. I would be posting on my Instagram like, who needs cash right now? Just sell me your extra stuff because you know, everyone needs it. You know, even I've caught myself selling a couple things just, you know, to make it by the week, so it works.
Yeah, and even as a consumer, there's like some people who are posting stuff for a really good price, and I'm like, dude, it's not gonna be this price anymore. I gotta cop it. So if you guys have the product and you guys are selling it for a really good price, then someone might, then that flips it to the other side where it's not that you're buying it, but now you're selling it, being able to make the sale. Because now you're gonna have something that you got for the low, you're making money on, you're gonna flip. But just advice would also be, like while you're doing that, if a hype shoe does come out, that doesn't mean like don't sleep. Like go enter all the raffles, go to any in-store raffle that you can do, any digital raffle, sneakers app, like don't sleep. Obviously that's just gonna be easy, and even if it flops, for most places, you at least could return it.
Yeah.
So you have a safe option.
Yeah, I think it's just like, if there's a shoe that is selling that you know it's gonna start reselling, like maximize it. Try to sell as many pairs as possible of that shoe as possible. Because even here, like, I remember when the, what shoe was it most recently? I mean, at the time, Reimagine 3s were selling pretty fast. They still do, but at the time when they first came out, I told you, like, let's just buy as many pairs as possible. Yeah, we'll pay up a little bit on them, but from what I noticed, they were selling same day. As many pairs as we got, they would sell same day. So if you can make $30 on each pair, you sell, what was it, like, it was like a total of 8 pairs that we sold in a day. And that ended up doing really well for us. So yeah, if you could just maximize each shoe that's selling really well right now, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
It's just about getting your hands on those pairs.
Yeah, and I think that's good for us because we're a store, but I think as a reseller, I would be a little bit more hesitant. That'd be more of like, if I could hit for retail, flip it the same day. Like don't hold it, just quick flip it. Same day release, usually that's the most money you're gonna get for a shoe. But because like, oh man, I would hate to be a reseller and pay like only 20 under ask or 30 under ask and not be able to sell it.
Yeah, same day at least.
Yeah.
Because then you're stuck with all those pairs and it's too much.
Yeah, so
seen it here happen too.
Yeah, like I'm thinking like I'm new to Instagram. I have 50 followers. Most of them are like my friends, my mom's friend, like, you know.
True.
So like that's where it starts to get a little hard. But I feel like even then, like it starts to translate. Like we've been to a couple sneaker shows, so I feel like even in that, like it translates to how like what you start seeing what that happens at sneaker shows.
What other resellers have.
It's different, yeah, because it's not just what we experience in the shop, but it's what does the whole resale community start to feel and affect. Sure. And I feel like, at least for me, when I go, like there's less vendors, typically. For the most part, I feel like they're just asking like crazy high, even though the market's down, because I think a lot of people are stuck with older inventory.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of resellers who they're still on that mindset of, I paid high, so let me sell it for the high. You know, like sometimes you just gotta like cut your losses, sell something for the low, and just reinvest that money somewhere else. But you're right, at the sneaker shops, I either see 2 tables with the same exact thing or less resellers now. Like the most recent sneaker event I went to, I feel like I just did 1 lap and I was just like, I kind of saw what I needed to see. You know, nothing too unique, nothing that caught my eye, or prices didn't really catch my eye. So that's the hard part with sneaker events now.
And I feel like most people would go and then just hope that like a sneaker store would go cash you out. Being like, oh man, like the ones in the mall, like they took all my Pandas, they took all my Jordans.
Before the sneaker event even opens up.
Yeah,
like,
before it even opens up.
Like resellers who are just washed out.
Yeah, and now I barely see any sneaker stores owners going. If anything, I see some more sneaker stores actually vending. Yeah. Like trying to get rid of some inventory. There's still people who go cash out, do that stuff, but it's not like how it used to be.
Yeah,
definitely.
I feel like it hits its waves. I'm sure there'll be another wave of sneaker events soon. You know, sneaker con's coming up in LA soon, so hopefully people catch some buzz around that. But like I said, it's just not the same anymore. I remember going to sneaker con, being able to catch some solid deals, or even other sneaker events like Kobe's. I remember first Kobe's event that we did, like we were selling stuff at really good prices, and we were also able to buy like GS Dunks, Jordan 1 lows for solid prices. But it's unheard of now, honestly.
Yeah, and it's cool because, you know, for us, we always take used stuff to those events just because like it's, at least like we had good luck with it before, but now I feel like you need to have the brand new items, you need to have what's hot, because the only people who are going to cash you out heavy are the stores, and that's because they need the newest stuff or like the things that sell the fastest, versus like when it was Kobe's back in the day, like you had a lot more people looking just to shop for themselves. And so they're like, oh, used and I get to ask for discounts, blah, blah, blah. Like, so I think that's why we moved so many pairs, but I think it slowly starts to transition as inflation got higher and higher and higher. You have less like consumers going to those events. Like you might still go and maybe find one pair for yourself and kind of do that, but like I feel like when we were at Kobe, like everyone was looking to buy anything. Like 2 years ago,
like, well, a few years ago it was like anything that I could have my foot in, but now it's like I feel like at Kobe's I'm only talking to resellers to sell some shoes.
Yeah, that's true too.
I'd be lucky if I saw like 3 pairs too, just people who genuinely want to wear the shoes. So
yeah, and it kind of sucks, but that's part of like the sneaker market kind of dying, I would say.
Yeah, because me, like, I get more excited if I sell a shoe to someone who's actually gonna tell it than someone who's like, oh, I might sell it, you know, like.
Yeah, I get you. So sneaker shows, it's still fun, it's still good to go to, and like obviously for content, like stuff like that. But yeah, in terms of like the resale culture there, I feel like it's kind of shrinking. Just because, like you said, like there's people who are less passionate, and those people who aren't able to make a buck on it, like they're just quitting. Like we've had some resellers who came and shop with us all the time, and they said like, yeah, we're done. Like I'm done sneaker reselling.
Yeah, I definitely feel like a couple years ago I knew a lot of sneaker resellers, and now it's like, the people who are really about it, who are the people who really want to stick through, you know, these hard times that are going on right now in the sneaker world. And I feel like, you know, the better sneaker resellers are really gonna end up, you know, prospering after this. So hopefully.
Yeah, I think if the market ever does adjust and the dollar doesn't collapse, like there's a big boom that could happen. And so yeah, the people who are holding pairs could make a lot of money, but who knows how long that might be. Also, who knows if we will boom, or how long that might take. And so that's the other scary part. But the last thing I kind of want to touch on is kind of like, at least for us, for a store, maybe giving some insight of like what still sells for us as the sneaker market has been shrinking, what sells the best for us, and maybe that'll help, you know, our viewers kind of see like, okay, maybe I should be looking more into these kind of pairs.
I feel like we're starting to find like our niche little market, at least for our customers. It's weird, I'll be like watching other people and they'll say that SBs don't sell that well. Surprisingly, I think SBs move pretty well for us. I'll try to take in SBs whenever they come into the door.
We sold like 3 eBay dunks today. So
eBay dunks, surprisingly, yeah, eBay dunks, we sold a whole bunch today. Yeah, so SB dunks, Jordan 1s, you know, surprisingly still sell. And Panda dunks, you're always gonna sell those. Even with all the restocks, you end up selling Panda dunks every day. I feel like for us, retro Jordans sell really well. Jordan 11s, like surprisingly, we'll be moving those. Used Jordans, any used Jordan usually sells pretty fast.
I definitely think where it used to be, dunks and Jordan 1s have definitely slowed down. Of course, Panda dunks kind of stay the same. It's just crazy, man. Like someone messaged me the other day. That was their second time messaging me. The first time was like a year and a half ago. And it was like, can I get a quote for Panda size 12? And I was like, $380. I offered him $380
$380
because we were
Pandas.
probably selling them for like $420 or $450 or something like that, just because that's what they were going for. But yeah, definitely Panda dunks are low. I mean, even for a store, like I'll admit, like, you know, we charge a little bit higher than like what market is, but also like as a store, we think about who our competitor is. So like if we have like a full size run, that's a perk of convenience. Versus like the ones in the mall, they might have a full size run, but also like their prices are going to be like 300, where we're selling ours at like 180 now.
Yeah, pretty much 180 a pop right now for Pandas when we do have them, because we sell through them pretty quick. So there'll be times that we'll walk into the shop and we might not have your size in Pandas, but I feel like 180 a pop, that's part of the reason why. Like, yeah, definitely you could probably find a reseller who's selling them for a little bit cheaper.
Or get lucky at a restock or something.
Exactly, but most of the time when you walk into the shop, 180 for a Panda, most people are pretty happy walking out the door.
Yeah. And for us, I definitely think used has sold a lot more for us. Like, I know that it's a little bit harder to sell used sometimes, but once you build that clientele, like we sell used a lot. Used retros for sure. Like used, like we sold a used 8 like today. Like
yeah, Jordan 8. Not an everyday seller, but you know, if it's used and it's priced at the right, you know, right price, it's gonna go. It's gonna fly. Someone out there wants them, and that's what I like. That's what I like to see. OG sneakerheads back into it. You know, someone who's just genuinely grabbing something that they've wanted for a few years, and you know, you saw it on our website and they're like, dude, that's a solid price.
Yeah, and I think that's what causes our business to do well, is because we're trying to have things at a good price. And obviously we get a lot of customers that tell us that, but on the other side, now that how we buy shoes, that's kind of the tough part, because in order for us to have a good price, we have to necessarily not pay the best. I'm not gonna say we lowball. Obviously, like you guys watch our videos, you see what we pay, but you know, for some shoes, like we're not making a killing. So like, I might pay someone like $60 for that Jordan 8 and we sold it for 100. And even today, like we had it for a discount, you know, so we only made 20 bucks off the shoe, but it sold. And we do that consistently. And I think that's like, I see used Dunks that we put up at 100 to 80 bucks, they sell really fast. But also that tells us that customers are willing to let them go for that price. Not because they want to, but because they might need to. They
just need the cash right now. And I feel like sometimes I've seen a shoe not sell just because that $20 difference. Like for example, we did the $20 off today on the website, and you know, that boosted sales for sure. You know, sometimes it's just a difference of pricing something just $20 cheaper. So when you're offering, I always have that in mind, because I'll check eBay comps and it's, you know, usually hidden for a certain price. And I'm like, well, we're a store, we could probably price it up a little bit. I think those times are changing where I'm just like, no, I really gotta stick by the book of what eBay comps are saying or what they've sold for. Just because I feel like I said earlier, people are educating themselves a little bit more and they know a good deal when they see one.
When CBS says eBay comps, it just means like eBay like completed items, meaning like items that sold. And the reason why we go off that is because that's the only real evidence that we see that the community of sneaker buyers are actually paying for some shoes.
Yeah, you can actually see what a shoe has sold for in the last, like, what does it show you, like the last 2 months of what has
or
sold?
60 days, 60 days. And that's the crazy thing is, like, a lot of people think we lowball. Like, you know, we had some guy come in here with some used Jordan 4 Fire Reds, and I get it, like brand new's at like $4, and he wanted $350 for a used pair, and I was like, we don't sell it for that price, like we're not even close. And we offered him $170, which, you know, the drastic of $350 to $170, it's huge. But in reality, like, we're selling that shoe for $220. Like, we're making maybe $40-50 just for that one shoe. You know, if you just look at StockX, like, then you're like, well, if it's $400, I should at least be able to get 3. And I think that's the hard part, and I think that's what a lot of sneaker resellers get stuck into. It's like they only look at what brand new goes for, so a used pair should go for this. Like, you're kind of estimating, which I think that used to work back then. But now it's definitely not the case. You have to really see what are people actually paying. And that's why eBay is such a good tool, because yeah, there's a lot of shoes that have a really high lowest ask, but it doesn't mean that that used market's gonna be anywhere near that.
So like, it's hard to offer because a lot of customers have that idea in their head. This shoe's going for $400. I only wore it once, so that should only affect the value by, like I said, only $50. But it's hard. A lot of customers are like, the math ain't math in here. $400 are offering me $170, but in reality, there's just so many more used shoes on the market than that brand new shoe. So that's why it makes it hard. You try to explain to every customer, advise them to go check it out for themselves, and if they want to come back, you know, take my offer. But like I said, we're not trying to weasel anyone.
Yeah, no, we're not
when
trying
I just offer what I think I could sell it for. So
yeah, like we're definitely not trying to lowball anyone. It's just, you know, we adjust to the market and we have to do what the market says. And obviously we have margins to make as a business, but yeah, it's the hard thing, and I think a lot of people don't understand. Like, even if you take like a Jordan 11 Concord, like, it's a great shoe. Brand new's at like $550 maybe. Hey Pax, looking at the camera. Yeah, they're at $550, and if you look at pre-owned pairs, sold comps, like they're all at like $2. Like $220, $240. So when someone's like, I want 3, which that doesn't sound like a bad offer, it doesn't. But I'm like, dude, I gotta pay you like $160, $170, because I'm selling these for $220, because I know if I price it at 3, that thing's gonna sit. And that's the hard truth. But it's also because that shoe is almost 5 years old now, or maybe over 5 years old, but that shoe had like 1 million pairs come out. And so now you have only maybe a couple thousand brand new pairs, but now you have over
Flooded with
100,000 couple pairs of pre-owned. Like, so that's why people don't understand that.
Yeah, and it's tough because the person who's selling you that shoe is telling you the price that you could sell it at. But then when you actually sell that shoe, you have another customer that you have to deal with because they're like, oh, you can't go $20 less, even if it is priced at 180. Like, I remember the Concords, we threw it up for a Saturday deal. I think it was like $140. It was Saturday deal, right? And then he goes, oh, you can't do it. I think it was 100 or something that he had offered me. And I was just like, I'm shocked. You know, this is a Concord. It's a good shoe, but a lot of people know what that shoe is going for now. Concords for 120 and asking me if I could go lower on price. It's a Saturday deal. No discounts on Saturday deals. They're already discounted.
Yeah, it's rough. And that's a hard thing too, when people try and tell you what to price it at, but also they don't have, like, they're getting the convenience of quick cash right now versus we have to sit and wait and find the right person who wants to buy that shoe, or maybe trade in, or maybe ask for a discount. We actually have a high risk of taking in the shoes. It's just people like think like, oh, well, there's always going to be someone who wants it for this price. Like, but it's funny too, because sometimes we flip the question on them and we're like, well, would you buy it at this price? And they're like, nah, like, honestly, I probably wouldn't, but you're a store, so you can still do it. Like, well, if you're not willing to pay that price, like, how can we expect other customers to pay that price for someone who supposedly loves the shoe so much? Yeah, so what are your final thoughts about, like, maybe someone watching this, they're like, oh, I want to get into reselling. I don't know if I want to because it's dead. Like, what's your recommendation to them? Well,
one, of course, I'm always going to be like on the side of someone just wanting to hustle. You know, if you want to hustle, this is great in a way, like training wheels for someone. You know, you learn how to buy something or flip it for, you know, the price. Like, even for sneakers myself, like, it's opened me up to other things and look at it like, that's a good deal. Like, let me see if I can make a flip on that, even if it's not sneakers. It just kind of teaches you the way of, you know, how to save some money and invest it into the right things. So I'm always going to recommend that. But I think sneakers is in a very tough time right now where, you know, just do it and just educate yourself, be smart about it, because it's not necessarily going to be easy. I tell it to people all the time, like, I wish sneaker reselling was easy, but it's not. It's not easy at all.
People think reselling is easy. Reselling isn't easy, man. Why do you think I don't do it?
But to some people, if you have the right connects, if you have the right mindset, if you have the right hustle, it's going to work out for you for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy anymore. Like, I think there's a lot of people who were into reselling during COVID and it was really easy. Man, you could flip anything. Like, I was flipping PS5s, I was flipping swimming pools, I was flipping weights. Like, during COVID times, like, you know, a lot of people took advantage and there was always buyers for it. Like, and so it drives it up, but it's a good teaching tool for sure. But I think if you're like a younger kid that doesn't have a lot of money, it's really risky. At least right now. Like, I think you have more options to actually get inventory in because more people need money, but also on the flip side, now you have a hard time selling it, which I think that's what like most resellers struggle with either or. They're either like, dude, I could sell it, but I have nowhere to get it. Or like, I can't make my margins because like I low-key lowball and I sell it for good prices. That's why I could sell it really fast. But then it's the other side.
You can't get the right amount of inventory in.
So you have good prices, but you can't get inventory because you're paying too low. And so it's hard. Or you're on the other side where it's like, I could get inventory because, you know, my margins might be decent, or maybe I pay up a little bit, but now I have a hard time trying to find customers because I need to make X amount of money. So like, you're not really negotiable, you're not really doing that. And so like, it's not like a huge money maker thing. It's more of like, hey, if you want to start a small business and learn the ropes and go through, make connections, do all that stuff, just because you genuinely love sneakers, it's a good start, but it's a little rough. So I would say like, take it with some caution. Don't go super heavy, being like, oh, I only got $5,000 and you spend all $5,000. Like, you know, just
don't spend $5,000 on some Jordan 1 mids.
Jordan
1 mid investment.
Like you're really gonna have to, like, honestly watch YouTube videos about how to, like I said, clean and restore shoes. Just get better at legit checking. It's literally something that you just need to really live in. It's not something you're just gonna pick up super fast.
A lot of people come in and ask me like, how do I legit check? And it's just like, I can't really teach you. Like, I can show you a couple tips, but you're gonna have to see shoes every single day and just be aware, and like you said, live it every single day. Have a shoe in your hand every single day and kind of just observe it. You got to see fakes to know what a fake looks like. So.
Yeah, that's true. So there's a lot to go into it, but that's pretty much our time for our talk today. So if you guys have any questions, or like I said, if you guys like this podcast type of thing, I don't even know what to call it, but
we'll figure it out.
We just kind of want to talk about, reselling business type of things and what that might mean for you guys. Leave a comment down below if you guys have different topics you guys want us to talk about. Let us know if you guys want us to do a whole video like this again, and we'll try and do our best to try and figure that out for you guys. So
yeah, we could switch it up a little bit, add the whole team here, maybe add like a couple of people, Jesse, Christian, Benji.
Yeah,
have them all here. I feel like they all have some pretty good stuff to say as well.
We know a couple other sneaker shop owners too. But yeah, so we can try. I mean, it's nothing like, we don't have crazy connections like that, but you just never know. But all right, guys, well, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this talk, and stay holy, stay blessed. Catch you on the next one. Peace.